This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215. Follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. I feel I've done the housekeeping, and now we can enjoy ourselves.
Speak for yourself.
Oh,
What about this morning when I started?
what about this morning?
Well-
Well, it's a bit late for that conversation. They've got rid of the troublemakers.
Have they got the new ones yet?
No, I think they're going to do the Have I Got News for You? We can't find anyone nice, so we're rotating the other people.
Well, no, I think they've had a sort of soft launch.
Oh, a soft launch.
Yeah, that's the Gen Z phrase of choice. They like a soft launch.
Yeah.
People sneaking on.
No, what about this morning when I wrote in Pierre's
I think
communal birthday
the court
card?
sofas have a soft launch. Do you remember court sofas when Bruce Forsyth on the advert would say silencing courts?
Yeah.
He'd be dressed as a judge, and then he'd talk about
And
great sofas.
There was a jingle which
Again,
was...
not saying settees, which I, again, feel is a word that's been lost.
No. They would. I think the tagline was, "I sincerely hope to see you all in court."
Oh, yes, that sounds right.
Okay. Yeah, this morning, I still feel a bit awkward. He hasn't received it yet. Oh, have you got the card?
Yes, yes.
It's Pierre's birthday celebration. We did the joint card.
Yes.
And I was a bit sort of distracted, and I wrote it as if I was writing it to you, and I put darling, and
Me,
I feel
not-
uncomfortable.
when Emily says you, she means me, not everyone listening.
No. What do you... was that inappropriate to put darling in Pierre's card?
Well, I think you made such a all-fire fuss about it. He couldn't possibly think it was sincere.
Oh, no. Good.
Like, oh, why have I written this on Pierre's card?
But maybe I thought that would be the sort of indirect sincerity. Oh, no, I've sent you another dozen
you know, when
roses.
the girl who's horrible to you at school really fancies you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been that, I agree.
Okay. Sorry, everyone.
But yes, it is, and we've got him one present.
Yes.
Would you like to say what it was?
The present, I think it's not going to do my relatability brand any favours.
Oh, that's shot.
That's shot to hell. Last week it was an illustrated Ulysses that I bought myself.
Yeah.
And
For
this
how
week,
much?
£66, according to Waterstones.
Yeah.
Cheaper everywhere else. It is. It's a Victorian map of Anglo-Saxon England. Double history.
Yeah, double history. That's
Jam
what
and
we're
cream.
after.
It's a beautiful thing, though.
Yes, you are.
Me and my little map.
Meanwhile, I'm wearing a TVA top, which I got for my birthday, which is a low-key birthday present. And if anyone got that at home, congratulations, because it's from the TV series Loki.
Is Tom Hiddleston Loki?
Tom Hiddleston is Loki, and a rather brilliant. For all people mock Tom Hiddleston for who he actually is, the people who he pretends to be are brilliant.
Do you know, I think he never got over the Taylor Swift incident.
Well, the singlet. Yes, he wore a singlet that said "I heart TS."
Yeah.
I think he never got over having to do an insane impression of Robert De Niro to Robert De Niro's face.
In fairness,
It's like watching an anxiety
Yes,
dream.
but he's a brilliant Loki.
You see, if Frank wore a T-shirt saying "I heart TS," I'd respect him because I know it would be T.S. Eliot.
Yeah, exactly, that would be fine. So, yeah, there's darkness there, but we won't go into it. No, I like this top a lot. I haven't taken it off since I got it for my birthday. And there's a slight element of one of my favourite garments, the varsity jacket, who I always associate with the popular actor Idris Elba, who I've seen in a couple of really state-of-the-art varsity jackets. And I think he might be an ambassador.
For varsity.
Yeah, because I think they must be being supplied to him.
Yeah.
Well,
they're
I
real
believe he has his own
beauties.
clothing brand.
Oh, does
So
he?
maybe there's a varsity line. Who
Elban
knows?
Varsity.
I do like that jacket on you, Frank.
Thank you.
You've really found your look later in life.
Well, yes, that's my look, is merchandise from Disney Plus sci-fi shows.
Yes.
That's where I look at my most relaxed, I think. That's what I'm after.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Yeah, so I was talking about the varsity. You guys, you don't know what a varsity. How could we describe it? It's one of those jackets you see in things like Happy Days with different coloured sleeves.
Well, that was
Back to the Future.
baseball jacket as well. That's specifically.
It's the jacket of the bully.
Oh, do you associate it with the
do
bully?
you? I've got a lovely New York Mets varsity, and I try not to bully anymore.
In a lot of fiction, American high school fiction, the kind of arrogant quarterback will be striding the halls. And Biff, exactly. Biff's always in his varsity jacket.
No, I know what you mean.
Big white
that's a
sleeves.
fair point. I met a Canadian woman who had a great varsity jacket on, but it had Canada on the back. You know, Canadians quite happy to have the name on the back. And she told me a story that she'd bought it from a charity shop in Canada, and then she was on the tube in London, and a woman said, "Oh, I love your jacket," and a fellow Canadian, she said, I ache for your jacket. I had a jacket exactly like that. My family used to nag me for wearing it all the time, and in the end I put it into a charity shop in wherever it was, Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, I got it from a charity shop," and it was the same jacket.
Oh my!
It was the same jacket and travelled across the world.
That's insane.
And it reminded me of a slightly less warm-hearted story of me and a mate.
Gather round the fireside, everyone.
Me and a mate drove out into the countryside. He just said, "Let's drive into the countryside and have a drink." This was in the days when I think that was legal. And we went to a pub and we got a pint, sat down, and I said, "Oh God, you'd never believe who's over there." And then Mr. X. And then I said, "Oh no, don't look, because he's with blah blah's wife." So it was a friend of ours with another friend of ours, and it's his wife. So the two of them were together. And I said, "Shall we go over and say, whoa, small world?" And he said, "No, we've got to get out of here." I remember my mate said, "We've got to get out of here fast. A bloke like him, if he knows we've seen them together, he might feel he has to kill us." I remember drinking our pints really fast. Obviously, we didn't leave them, but we
it was
wanted
only your
to.
lives you were
But
afraid of.
he might be just confronted with the fact I'm gonna have to,
I have to murder these two men, I know.
Yeah, we're out in the country as well, where killing for convenience is probably a commonplace. I wouldn't be surprised.
Good morning, all our listeners in the country. I do apologise.
Sorry about that. Was that too dark for breakfast? Too dark for breakfast! Yes, but I was just thinking about, coincidences, that's all.
And killings.
It's not quite the same as the varsity jacket story, but you can see how one might emanate from what I believe they call t'other.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I got some nice birthday gifts.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask
I'll
what
tell you
your
what I
haul
got.
was
Never
like.
had one of these before, and I've lived a long time. I was bought a hood ornament.
Sorry?
You know, a hood ornament. Are you familiar with that?
What, for the car?
Yeah.
So you can have a sort of intimidating arrival.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on, where does your ornament go?
I saw Jerry Lee Lewis arrive at a theatre in Cheltenham with bull horns on the front of a convertible.
Where does it go exactly?
A hood ornament, like, is it called the Spirit of of ecstasy or something on the front of a Rolls
The
Royce.
Rolls Royce, yes.
The lady.
And the VW sign, which, as we know, were stolen a lot by the rap bands.
But you occasionally see a VW hood ornament, you know, a raised one, but often they're set in
I
now,
know.
aren't they? But I don't think I'm going to actually mount it. I don't know what the legal implications are for
Mounting
a
it.
hood ornament.
I wouldn't mount it.
If you hit anyone, well, it's Wile E. Coyote, who has long been a significant figure in my life, you know, from the Roadrunner movies.
Why has Wile E. Coyote been so significant to you?
Well, I've got several. I've got a cuddly, if you can have a cuddly Wile E. Coyote, and I've got a little one on my desk always because I've always been. This is genuine. I've been inspired by that never ever give up thing of keep pursuing your goal.
And your love of TNT and catapults.
Yeah, well, I don't involve. I don't. It's not quite that literal, but. Yeah, it's. I got a T-shirt as well for my birthday with the Wile E. Coyote on.
Would you ever watch his oeuvre?
Oh God, I've watched hours and hours.
Really?
Yeah, I've got VHSs originally and then DVDs. I could just watch it all night.
You should get a bracelet that says WWWCD. What would Wile E. Coyote do?
That's a great idea. Maybe next birthday. You could start work on that now if there's any jewellers listening. Maybe H. Samuel tunes into this. I'm guessing H is no longer with us.
Is Coyote the surname then? Is it Mr.
W.E. Coyote. Yeah, I always like the idea of people getting, like Meatloaf, getting letters to Mr. M. Loaf.
Is he a coyote?
Yes.
Well, I don't know these cartoon people. It never makes sense.
Yes, he's in constant pursuit of a Roadrunner. That's
Yes.
it, that's
He's
the idea.
Roadrunner's nemesis. Okay.
Yeah.
And I actually go on stage to Roadrunner by Jonathan Richman. So,
Yeah.
you know, so there. I'll tell you what I did have, though. I had a couple of dog gifts for my birthday. This is a new phenomenon for me.
Gifts?
It's my birthday and I got gifts from my dog.
So not dog
So-
gifts from your dog.
No, nothing from my dog.
Do you get dog-themed gifts? May I draw your attention to my socks this morning?
Oh, yes, I've got dog. Yeah, but I'm on about gifts for my dog on my birthday. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
The radio family gave me a Chewy Vladimir Putin, which
Yes.
I assume was for the dog.
Well, you assume incorrectly.
Yeah. And someone gave me, my in-laws gave me a dog Frisbee. You know, it's one of my life's ambitions. It's in my bucket list to see a dog take a Frisbee out the air. I've never seen that live. I've looked at it on YouTube. It's a really spectacular and impressive moment of beauty. But something went wrong with the Frisbee thing. I'll probably post a picture just very quickly. The dog doesn't know how to hold a Frisbee, our dog. And the dog, it's one of those Frisbees like a donut with a hole in the middle. And it held it on the inside instead of the outside. So the dog's face, you know those old early animations with the man in the moon?
Yes.
With the grinning face. It looked like yeah, that's what she looks like. She looks like the man in the... I'll put
Trapped.
a picture up. But it's... we just walked along. Everyone we passed was just really guffawing and laughing. So I suppose it was a nice gift for me as well in that respect. Just the sound of laughter, albeit someone else's.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I have important news. I have been travelling. I've been doing some gigs recently, and with Omar, who you remember has toured with me and Pierre before at length, and will, God willing, be touring with us soon.
Lovely
Yes.
chap.
And in fact, will be with us at the Gielgud Theatre in Shaftesbury Avenue starting on Monday.
Will
Yeah.
he wear his special red shoes?
He had his pink docs on, of course.
Yeah.
I think that Shooty Gatwa has slightly stolen Omar's look.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he said, I heard you on the radio talking about the theatre in Hastings. Now, in case you are not regular listeners, or you just have short-term memory loss through drink, or if you're someone who is inclined to chase sweet Lady H,
God.
I would remind you that I got a list of the gigs we were doing on tour, Pierre and I, and at Hastings, a White Rock Theatre, the capacity was 1,066.
Yeah.
And I was taken aback that it was basically 1066 at Hastings. And as we said, couldn't be a coincidence. We asked for help on this information, nothing. So it turns out that Omar recently marshalled a gig at that same theatre.
Frank, when you say marshalled, you're making him sound slightly Jobsworth, wearing a high-vis tabard.
High-vis jacket with Marshall on the back.
Yeah.
And he's not like that.
Air traffic controller paddles.
But anyway, it was remarked upon that the capacity was 1066. And the guy who worked there said, well, we did a refurb, and when we'd finished the refurb, the capacity was 1072. He said, and we thought, it's just close enough. So we took 6 seats out to make it 1066. So when I played there, I'll be paying for that joke. In the 10 tickets 6 tickets I can never sell. And you know what? I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
For that joke.
Yes.
It's worth it.
I think it's a good sacrifice. It's impressive from them.
Yeah.
Even as an institution, they think, no, we'd rather make a bit less every year.
Yeah, we'd rather make a bit less than have that 1066. No, I like that. Anyone who chases the joke, regardless of material benefit, is fine by me.
Yeah.
You bet your sweet bippy. I'm doing a gig tonight in Maidenhead. Leave it. And I'm going to have to take the dog tonight.
Are you?
Yeah. I've never taken the dog to a gig before.
So what?
And Omar said to me, do you think she'll be all right on a lead in the wings? And I thought, I hope she's not frightened by laughter, I thought. Or she may die.
What about bringing her on stage?
Oh, no, I don't want to go.
It's a bit
Fanny the Wonder
Schnorbits.
Dog. It is small bit.
It's a bit Schnorbits.
People who include...
How dare you?
Yes, exactly.
And can I say, Ray has been on stage. I didn't elect to bring him on stage. I was interviewing someone, and they said, well, you've got your dog in the dressing room. Should we bring your dog on stage?
Well, that's a bit cheeky.
Well, what's he getting paid is what I want to know.
Yeah, exactly. And then they might be alarmed by a large crowd.
Oh, no, they love it, Frank. They do love it. But I know what you mean. You've got to be careful. There is something of the Schnorbits about it, especially when they say, and now we all know who the real star is.
Yeah, and also, when you're halfway through the gig and you think, I didn't actually leave any water in the dressing room. I left the gas on in the dressing room. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be all right. And drive back at 1 a.m. with the dog's head out the window, absolutely freezing. And when you have the windows open, something happens to your eardrums when you're on the motorway. Go, whoa, it's like a torture. The dog, I look in the wing mirror and there's the dog's face, the G-force pushing back its ears and eyes. Loving it for some weird reason. Anyway, I've got all that to look forward to.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Anna Banana, one of our regulars,
Yes.
you may be familiar with her work,
Oh, yeah.
has got in touch. We put a lovely picture of your Poppy. Our Poppy. Do you refer to her as our Poppy? As
I
in
always
our
call her the dog.
Yes,
I
you
rarely
do.
use her name.
You do. Interesting.
If we get another dog, then obviously I'll have to start naming them.
Dog 1, dog 2.
Yeah, something like that.
Anna Banana has got in touch. There is an annual canine Frisbee disc world championship,
Is
she
there
tells
really?
us. And she goes on to tell us that border collies are the most common winners.
I wonder why that is. Are they like sheepdogs?
They're one of the
Yes.
most intelligent dogs.
Yeah,
Are they?
they're good sheepdogs, very smart. You shouldn't have one if you're not going to give it things to do or it'll chew your house to pieces.
Oh,
Right.
that rules us out, Frank.
But they catching a frisbee doesn't require any great intelligence, does it? I know I've seen human beings catch it who I wouldn't want to share a long car journey with.
Yeah, but in your mouth,
Did you
that's
let
a
them-
whole other ballgame.
Well, I've really tried to get her to do it, but I think it's a bit sturdy. And I think she's worried quite rightly. Maybe she's too smart to catch it, just and smash her teeth out.
Yeah.
Well, imagine Ray trying to cope with one of those.
No, let's just take him off the ground. It'd be
say,
like a baby Yoda in The Mandalorian, hovering above.
You just see him disappear over the horizon.
Exactly, yeah. Right, come on. Like he's like a kid in a life ring.
Just up into the sky like an alien. Gone.
I'd like to. I've never seen any dog catch one live. I mean, it doesn't have to be my dog. It's not all me with the dog catching frisbee scenario.
Would you be as happy if the dog caught it almost by sort of catching up to it and biting it as it moved away from
Over
the
its
dog?
shoulder, I'd be more happy.
Not over
Would
its
you?
shoulder. It's almost chasing it and.
Do they have
getting-
shoulders, dogs?
8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
We must have some vets. Do you think we have vets listening?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. What else they doing?
Well, I'm quite busy. Frank, do you prefer
yeah.
doctors or vets?
Well, the vets that I've known, my initial experience
A new
with
book.
vets. Yeah, exactly. The ones down the road from me, there's my regular vet now, and he's quite a nice guy.
I really like vets.
I like him.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got it all.
Hopkins.
I think he might be South African, possibly.
It's very common.
Is he really?
Yeah, we seem to be vets, dentists, personal trainers, and mercenaries. Those are the four jobs. that are allowed.
Physical race. I had a personal South African if I could call her a personal trainer. I saw her once a week. Does that still make her personal?
Well, depends what was going on.
But she rolled her Roz like that.
Oh, she would have been Afrikaans.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopkins has got in touch and says Poppy looks like she's on the way to Cardiff to watch Wales v Scotland in the Six Nations. Because they wear
What?
big dandelion.
Don't they wear daffodils, the Welsh?
Daffodils, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it goes round their head, almost exactly like that.
Oh, I see.
So she does look like a Wales
Yeah, I
supporter.
think there's pictures. We should have put them up side by side. There's pictures of Peter Gabriel on stage when he used to have like a big flower petal thing around
Yes,
it.
yeah.
Would look quite like my dog carrying a frisbee. Some people stopped and said, "Oh, what happened?" As if it was like a version of those.
Oh,
what
it looks a bit cone of shame.
The cone, yeah.
Cone of shame.
Most people just laughed. Do have a look. We put the picture online. I mean, it's pretty comical, I got to say. And slightly conical. And it's often the two. It's not that often the two are combined. You see, I'm very happy with that. I'm happy to go out on that, and I'm just going to bask. Happily, I am wearing one.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. Text us show on 812. Oh, no, I didn't like my 12. Can I do that again, Roger? 81215. Follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Frank, our readers have been enjoying the photograph of Poppy with Frisbee. And we've also had some... Well, this is in from Amanda. This is Amanda in Reading. Frisbee
Amanda
dog.
Reddington.
No.
Oh,
And I like any communication that begins Frisbee dog.
yeah.
Years ago, at an American football game in LA, the half-time...
Tighter.
Just because somebody's been to LA. The half-time entertainment was none other than a dog brought on to catch a frisbee thrown 100 yards. When he caught it...
Imagine the velocity at 100 yards.
Yeah.
When he caught it mid-air, the PA announcer shouted, "Frisbee dog!" and the
great.
entire stadium erupted.
Yeah. I hope they all shouted Frisbee dog and didn't just cheer. Was it a BC?
BC?
Border Collie?
Oh, we're going BC now. And we've also heard from Biff.
What, Biff of the varsity jacket?
Biff himself, he's texted, I'm going to meet you outside, nerds. So we better stay in the studio till they go
all
out.
right.
We would
stay
very
close to
much.
Pierre.
Yeah. You see,
Man
that's-
Mountain.
Would we have been in Greece, for example? Would we have been friends with Eugene and his gang? Or would we have been... None of us are T-birds or pink ladies, let's be honest.
No.
Where would we have...
I
we would
think
have had
you
to...
might have been.
No, I would have been the one who was clinging on with her fingertips. You know, the slightly unfortunate-looking one with the jacket. I would have been her.
Yeah, I think I would have been the one in the dicky bow, getting shoved around.
Well, Biff has got in touch. Hi, Frank, Emily and Pierre. I am the original Biff, as my given name is Simon Biffin.
Oh, okay.
First time I ever walked into a school aged 4, I was greeted, this was in 1969, I was greeted by 20 children shouting Biffo the Bear.
Right, oh, that dates it a bit.
Biffo the Bear.
Unless he was wearing, like, short red trousers with, like, the red braces fitted in, like Biffo used to wear.
I went home in tears.
Biffo, in case you don't know, was the cover star of the Beano before Dennis the Menace hogged that job.
In the days when you had a bear in dungarees as a cover star.
And the original one, you'll remember, who was Ego, who was an ostrich, who I read some research on Ego, and he said he was removed because research at the Beano suggested their viewers preferred a humanoid figure on the cover.
Very scientific approach.
Yes, so they went. Biffo the Bear was a bear, but he was very humanoid. I know what they meant by him. He looked like there might have been a very dark forest liaison.
Yes.
Between a human and,
Well, he walked
and someone
up.
who was Ursine.
He was under the illusion, he fantasised that he was a human, let's be honest.
Yes.
He appropriated the human lifestyle.
I wouldn't want to be there when they handed him his notice.
Who,
Who,
Biffo?
Biffo?
Yeah, Biffo, we're moving in an even more humanoid direction.
Yeah, and then he tore their faces off.
Get the darts just in his neck.
Oh, poor Biffo.
Poor Biffo. Anyway, Biff continues.
Imagine the moment when he took the red trousers with braces off and thought, well, I won't be needing these anymore. Oh, Biffo.
Sadly cast aside at the forest entrance.
And not welcome. Not accepted in any community, in either community.
no,
The bear,
terrible.
he can't wander around with the bears in the red trousers.
No, at a time as well when accepting difference wasn't such a catchword as it is now.
And all the bears sick of his stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, you were in the Beano, Biffo.
Yeah.
Well, Biff,
No, just do it here. We do it here. You don't have to find a
I
toilet.
know their words. That's the point. Biff continues. I went home in tears after being called Biffo the Bear, only to be told by my father, "You've got a comedy surname. Get used to it."
Oh, that's good advice.
I thought you'd like the father.
Yeah, obviously the father had probably been... Biffo had been around so long, his dad had probably had that as well.
And then he ends by saying, the nickname followed me forever. Even the teachers called me Biff.
Okay.
He then says, was I a bully though? Well, it was the 70s.
Okay.
Okay, Biffo. Biffo
go
the
either
bully.
way.
Also, let's not confuse Biffo the Bear with Biff the Bully in
Yes.
American comics. Biffo the Bear was a docile figure.
Was he?
Domesticated.
Yeah, helpful. And
Well, he was when he
kind.
was humanised, but we don't know what he was like when
We
he got
don't
back
know
in the woods.
when
he went wild.
when he reverted to the wild. Obviously, yeah. Biffo goes feral. That would have been a good anniversary story.
Checking in.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, Frank, you're a big fan. Well, we're a big fan of new vocabulary on this show.
Well, yeah.
We did Riz as Word of the Year last year.
Oh, yeah.
Which is short for charisma, and I think it means sort of pulling power.
You riz people up.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've been saving so much time since I started using Riz instead of charisma.
Yeah, me too.
I've done so much with all that extra time.
I like the idea that Vladimir Putin has got Riz, and these are thus known as Riz Putin. No, that made me happy.
Yes.
So yes, we need to always remember the young. The young are always with us, and they no doubt develop their own language. And I find it with my own child that he says things like some that have been around so long now, they're sort of established, but I still find it a bit odd when he says, "Oh, that's sick," and I think, "Oh, I don't know, it's all right."
Well, apparently there has never been such a separation between the generations, language-wise.
That's healthy, though, I think.
Well, there was some reporting on the sort of the 20 Gen Z slang words that you should master.
Yes.
Frank, if you want to make yourself understood to these.
Well, they had
when I
also...
speak to the youth.
When you speak to the youths.
I don't speak to many youths. I'm interested in it. Last week, Daisy, who was a former producer of this show, came along to visit me on my birthday day. And we were walking down the road, and I was asking about her kids, and she said, "Oh yeah, he's got, he's so grown up now. He has a skin fade." And I said, "That rings a bell, skin fade." She said, "Yeah, it's a hair that's really, really short at the sides." And she started looking at me and going, young people, like, that's how they like their hair, really short. She kept looking at me and my haircut. And then I remembered where I'd seen the term skin fade before, and it was on the till when I paid at the barber's. So I'd accidentally got a skin fade, because I always call it, as you know, 20s East European novelist haircut.
Is that what you ask for when you go in?
Well, no, I show them a picture of when I had... Remember when I went to Edinburgh and the woman gave me a really good... You could see all the skin on the sides of my head, and a man in there said he's a famous magician. And then she asked me about magic. I just went along with it because I couldn't be bothered to explain the difference.
It's your magician haircut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway,
like
so that was a new one for me, a skin fade.
I like it if you could only ask for haircuts that had to be a novelist or a writer.
Yeah.
So in your case, I think sometimes you go for W.H. Auden. You have in the past sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a novelist as such, but a poet.
No, poet.
Indeed.
I'm sorry. Yeah, literary figure,
one,
I should say.
But you're right. That harsher one was much more fled Hungary.
Yes, it is. Exactly. Exactly. That's not the name of someone before you Google it. So we're going to explore some of these words. Yes. I'm excited about it. But, we've got other business. We're a commercial radio station. We have, we have things.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Can we please discuss this whole slang area?
Yeah.
Because it's foreign students or students learning English as a foreign language, we should say.
Yeah.
They have been struggling. This is what I was reading.
With youth speak.
Well, specifically youth speak, because they're getting all these phrases from TikTok.
Yeah.
Like I was watching the Teen Titans animation, remember that, and picked up no-wo.
No.
For no worries. No worries.
No-wo.
Hey, no-wo. I thought they were using it on there, like Robin the Boy Wonder. And I thought, everybody must use that now. So I dropped in a few no-woes in conversation. People just...
How'd it go?
Just looked at me blankly.
It sounds quite Aussie.
Yeah,
No-wo?
you think so?
No-wo. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in
No
a
drama.
rush.
They like no drama.
No drama.
That's one of Russell Crowe's favourites.
No drama.
It's all right. No drama. So... They have said...
Never said in your house, I wouldn't have thought.
Never. Lots of drama. They've said, I think it's 70% of overseas students are having to ask teachers to explain the following phrases, or words, we should say. So, word number one, these are sort of Gen Z words. Beef. Familiar with that, Frank?
I'm familiar with beef, certainly, but isn't that quite an old one? It's when you've had an argument, you've got beef with somebody.
I think that use goes back quite a way.
Yeah.
I've heard people use it as a verb. Who are you beefing with?
Oh,
Who are
okay.
you currently
Mind your own
arguing
business.
with?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I say to that.
Yeah.
Okay, Frank. NPC.
What about Beef? Oh, the Bear, the very
Biffo the Bear.
argumentative
Biffo.
comic character.
There we go. All right, Biffo the Bear.
Biffo the Bear.
I will say, in the break, I looked up Biffo the Bear and
Look,
terrifying.
Biffo, remember, not Biffer. I thought you said Biffo the Bear. Or Before the Bear. Some terrible...
A Scottish version. Before the
terrible
Bear.
evolutionary missing link.
Some gloopy plasmoid creature.
What
Yeah.
did you think of Biffo the Bear?
He looks horrifying.
Oh, you're joking.
He's got tiny human teeth and a long
Frank,
head.
Frank, why did we never question the fact that he had big old veneers?
He's got a long, thin
have a
body.
bear.
A long body as well. Long, thin body.
Yeah, but don't body shame him,
Yeah,
Frank.
I didn't really understand interspecies relationships in those days.
Well, I still don't.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, luckily we've got a break now. I'll explain them to you. You see, this bloke saw a monkey.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We've been discussing, what were we talking about just now? Beef.
Beef, yeah. I think maybe they're a bit unjustified in saying having beef with someone is Gen Z slang.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
maybe the verb beefing with someone that's younger.
Some of these I felt, and as our youth correspondent / medieval Norse mythology correspondent, perhaps you can put us straight on this. They had Peng on this list, Frank. Now, I thought Peng was a bit dated. I thought it was a bit like saying Gordon Bennett or something.
I'd never heard of Peng before.
Oh, I
It
thought it
means
was a bit
good.
6 years ago.
Peng's around, yeah.
Do they still use it?
I think so, yeah. It still
I have
pops up.
to tell you something about Peng. I'd
Hmm.
never seen it, so I thought, I'll look this up. So I went on, the online urban dictionary,
Yes.
and you get these terms, and you get an example of them in use. So I looked up Peng, and it says Peng means good. For example, then it gives you an example sentence. Bro, this nectarine galette is Peng. I thought, what? This is an example. I've got to look up lots of other stuff in this now.
That's really funny.
How are you going to use that, Frank?
Galette. I didn't know what a galette was either.
You had to look that up.
Yeah.
It was
What
just the
is a
same example
galette?
It's
sentence.
like a fruit tart.
Yeah.
Bro,
dare
this
you?
nectarine
How dare you speak
galette
to me
is
like that?
Peng. No one's ever said that.
That's great. I think some of this, also like this list is not, there's a few millennial terms in there and stuff like Peng, but also it's very London centric.
Also,
Oh,
Galette
is it?
Peng. It sounds very the kind of person we'd see in one of those Daily Mail articles going out with Timothy Chalamet
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yes,
Called
yeah.
what?
Dating new young star Galette Peng.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Galette Peng poured herself into her tracksuit.
Showing Timothy Chalamet what he's missing. So also on this list, Frank and Pierre, was NPC.
Yes. This is a harder one to...
Frank?
Well,
NPC?
yes. Now, I investigated this. I'm not a gamer,
No.
but I
But then
have...
again, no.
I am... yeah, but I am a big fan of the Jumanji films, as I think I may have mentioned on here before. The modern iteration.
Do you like Jumanji?
Oh, yeah, with The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you used to watch that on your own and things?
No, I watch it. They're brilliant films. Nevertheless, there is a character in them who comes and talks to them and just says the same things over and over again, regardless of how they reply.
Yes.
And so I worked out this is the thing that you get in games. Someone who you don't operate them, they just come and do their thing. And I realised that is, I think it's called a non-playable character.
Yes, yes.
Which we've all seen in Amdram.
Some of us have been, dear.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. It said people who don't think for themselves or just think what they're programmed to think, or as I personally call them, almost everyone.
Well, that's exactly what the slang term was made to describe. Is this idea of like, oh, you're like sheeple, you know?
Yeah,
One of your- one-
sheeple is good as well.
Sheeple, yeah.
Sheeple.
Well,
I
it comes
don't know
it
that
comes from
one.
the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah,
Oh.
They love to accuse people who don't believe that the
I've
Earth
gone
is
off
hollow
it
and
already.
filled with
Yeah,
aliens. aliens.
Yeah.
How else do
Okay.
you explain crop circles, sheeple?
So
is
if you're
she-
an NPC, you just accept things. You just
Follow the
say-
crowd.
Yeah.
So hang on, would NPC? This is what's worrying me. I want to know it's being used by people I like and respect. Is it a bit people in sort of studios, oppressive podcast studios with black t-shirts, getting angry?
It started like that, and now it has escaped that cage.
Oh, good.
And has become a general
Okay, good.
disparaging term for people
Yeah.
to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's all very educational for me, I must say. But as I also always say, we're doing a commercial station job. We have to, there are housekeeping elements.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Just to give you a little brief insight into the kind of conversations we had off air.
Should we do that?
I think we're allowed.
Okay.
Well, if you'd prefer not to.
No, go for it.
No, I will just. Frank just went, oh, directors.
No, there was when I was growing up watching films, television things. Who cared who the director was? Now that's who they talk about. Some bloke behind the other side of the camera. I just wanted to know. I didn't know the names of most of the actors. I just just want to watch the story.
Yeah.
Now it's all the directors that says this and the director. It's like producers in music. Who were they? And now you knew George Martin, and that was it. And now it's like the core. Yeah, I'm also a producer. What do you want to do that for? You're going to show business, and now you're doing like that bread and butter jobs.
It's similar to when we, who was it, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire drama was on.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And Frank's review was, he said, well, yeah, but I don't like, suddenly there were roles for all these behind the scenes people. I don't want them being featured.
Well, that's why they've gone behind the scenes, because they don't want. That's what they don't want, the limelight.
It's not what it's
Don't
for.
they, though?
No,
Don't they, though?
well, if they do, then that it is a prison of their own making.
Meanwhile, over at the Teach English in a Foreign Language School,
Oh yes.
you used to get people approaching you all the time with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't anymore. We've discussed some of these words: beef, peng,
NPC.
not
What
per character.
about
Non-playable
drip?
character. Drip, yes, for fashion or dress sense.
Would you use that, Frank?
Well, I remember the craze of the drip dry shirt, which you used to wash it,
Oh, I
and
thought
then
you meant Reggie and Ronnie.
you would hang it up, and it would come out. You know how if you just hang up something to dry, the normal garment, they come out like they've got a bit of cellulite. The shirt comes out a bit cellulite, a bit slightly crinkly.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
But the drip dry shirt, it looks like it's been ironed once it's dried. It's absolutely perfect, and it was a revolution. I thought, this is it now.
This is what shirts will be like
But then
forever.
they've sort of disappeared. So I wonder if drip is somehow tied to that.
Nice
that
drip,
phenomenon.
etymology.
Yeah,
I would like it if some kind of South London rapper was
in a drip
This
dry
is all
shirt.
from the drip dry shirt era. That's why we
Yeah,
got
but
this
it was
from.
great. It was for people who didn't have time to iron. You know, they were selling encyclopedias door to door.
They didn't have time to iron, but they had time to watch a shirt drip itself dry.
No, but you did it before you went to sleep. When you woke up, it's like ghosts had ironed it in the night.
Yeah, they iron their sheets.
How often do you have
actually.
to
They're
clean-
very smooth, the sheets that the ghosts wear.
Yeah.
Well,
You've
the
never-
ghost sheets.
Yeah, you've never
Yeah.
seen the folded square in the ghost sheet.
No,
Well, also, you're
that
right.
is true. That'd be a very new ghost.
Yeah. Box fresh ghost.
Box fresh ghost.
They never get those curling hems, the ghosts.
No.
From
Yeah,
the
exactly.
tumble dry curling hem on the
You know,
sheet.
Interrupting a ghost to say, you should wash that first and then...
Yeah, Vladimir died yesterday. Can you smell? Can you smell Lenore? Oh, here he comes.
Like in The Raven.
Yeah, they must. But they don't seem to get really dirty. There must be a laundry, a ghost laundry.
That's why they float off the ground, because it's a white sheet, and if you drag
Oh, they
it along...
They
Yeah.
don't always float off the ground, though, do they, Pierre?
no.
Because what do ghosties wear on their feeties, Frank?
What, trainers?
Reebok trainers.
Yeah, real Reebok trainers.
You'd think passing through a wall, you're going to pick up some debris.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are ghosts clean? Do they shower and things? Or no?
Oh, no.
You'd have to worry about
don't
these
need-
things.
No. I imagine they smell of sulphur, most of them.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner, by the way, on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 812 15. Follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
That's lovely. Very
Went all a bit
under-
under milk wood at the end.
So I love that. Frank, we were talking about slang
Yes.
and trying to be a bit cool using it.
Well, spike for yourself.
I always do. And we've had this in from MJ, and MJM is the full title.
Okay.
I won't explore what's going on there.
No.
But MJM says at work, a 21-year-old referred to being skint due to 'cause he lives. That's 'cause he lives.
Okay.
Do you know what that is, Frank?
No.
Cost of living crisis, is
Yes,
that right?
yeah.
Oh.
I had to ask what that
'cause he
meant.
lives.
And they confirmed cost of living. I've never felt the generational gap so much. I'm 38.
Yeah.
That seems to come from the same root. Do you remember Platty Jube?
Yes.
Very
For the
platty.
Platinum Jubilee.
That's it.
By the way, can you just trim that bit where I say I'm 38 and just put that out separately? Okay?
But it is quite fun if someone invites you to do something, you can shrug and say, 'cause he lives.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to buy it from me. But, worth a try, I suppose.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but you know.
They might think it's something to do with my swimming attire.
We've also got this news just in from Richard. Richard has adopted 2 new guinea pigs.
I've had a message from Richard. He says, "Now it's the winter of our discontent, mate." Go
Due
on.
to the 'cause he lives.
Yeah.
Richard, who's adopted 2 guinea pigs.
Oh, God, I thought you were going to say Richard who's adopted. I thought, don't read that bit out. He might not want you to read that bit out.
Why has he put it in brackets then?
From Pets at Home.
Okay.
And these guinea pigs, they are called Dave and Frank.
Oh, right.
Should be Frank and Dave. But
Well-
Pets at Home have confirmed, Frank,
Yes.
that these guinea pigs were named in honour of you two.
That's very nice. Oh, they need to sit so that Dave is on the left of screen when you look at them.
Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah, that was the deal that we had.
Oh, you
Because
had
it was
to Nancy
Badil and
Dexter.
Skinner. A lot of people have a regular. And we found ourselves lapsing into it. I'd go around his house, sit down, and we find we were just sitting in the right order. I've
Muscle memory.
Yeah, I've no idea what the right-hand side of him looks like.
Now, we'd had some previously during the week, Frank.
Oh, yes.
It regards the tour
Oh, okay.
that you and I are on / will be on.
Yes, as I like to call it, Francis de la Tour.
Oh, lovely.
It's the name of an actress.
Who's your favourite Francis? I
Of
think-
a CC.
But what spelling? Are we
you
talking
can go
male?
any spelling. I just want to know who your favourite Francis is.
I think probably Francis Matthews, who's an actor who I think played. What was the name of the Paul Temple, the detective?
Oh,
And
we
a
were talking
fabulous
about
theme
detectives
tune.
only the other week.
Yes, our favourite detectives. Mine totally Columbo, but there was some.
Mine was Rockford Files, I think, probably.
James Garner.
Well, just because at the time I thought it was so the height of sophistication that he had an answer machine.
Yeah, he did, and also I think there was quite a lot of synth in his
Oh, he had a lot of sense.
theme tune.
If you look back, Frank, I don't know how practical the answer machine for a detective is. I mean, hi, the murderer's outside. Could you please call me back?
But it really was the answering machine. When did it go out? In the 80s?
Yeah,
Rockford
80s, early
Files.
80s maybe.
The answering machine was a bit like people. What do they call the thing in Star Trek when you get into the thing and disappear and go somewhere else?
The airlock.
No, what's it called though?
The transporter.
Yeah. So it was like that, the answer machine. It's had a similar impact. People think, oh my goodness.
A machine with
You have
answers.
captured someone's voice.
There's a little man in my phone.
Yeah. And it was like the big gimmick of the show was that the detective had an answer machine.
Well, I'm definitely going to be using him.
Yeah, because you could call him, and even if he's not in,
You can
talk to
still
him.
you can
hear
leave
his
a message.
voice.
I mean,
Imagine.
come on.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Regarding a contact we'd had during the week about our touring together.
Yeah.
It's from Julie in Chelmsford. And she says, I didn't know Pierre's name. And when they introduced him as the warm-up, I thought they said Piano Billy.
Piano Billy.
Yeah.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Me, Piano Billy.
Here he is.
He plays with his feet for the finale.
Well,
exactly.
Piano Billy, Piano Billy.
Shirley says,
I'd go and see Piano Billy.
I would say, do you think Piano Billy, and definitely dungarees,
Oh, yeah.
Piano Billy would have on?
I think
Bare feet.
every Piano Billy concert ends with someone being punched through a clearly sawn through bit of banister and sort of falling into
I'm worried
into
now
a
because
table of cards.
I am coming to see you both at the Gielgud, and I'm worried that I said, "Oh yeah, it's Frank with Piano Billy."
With Piano Billy.
That's how I think my friends have
heard
read.
it.
Yeah,
They'll be turning up in Wild West themed outfits. Totally inappropriate.
Wearing irons.
with Billy Ray Cyrus hair.
Yeah.
Ready to shoot through the ceiling in glee. Well, Julie says, I was waiting through his jokes to play the piano Victoria Wood style.
Oh, I see. Isn't the fact there wasn't a piano on stage a hint that wasn't going to happen?
Well, that's part of the showmanship
That never
of...
stops Piano Billy.
No, it's part of Piano Billy's showmanship as the piano descends from the ceiling.
Oh, I thought the curtains open and it's a Wild West saloon.
Yeah, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, like people playing with their hands really high in the air.
Yeah.
I asked my husband why. So she at some point, Julie leaned across to her husband and said, "Why do they call him Piano Billy?" Just you wait.
Just you wait, Piano Billy.
You'll see why.
It's right what they say. Sometimes the mistakes are better than the real thing.
Oh yeah. Also, I like. Why do they call him? As though
Yeah.
when they
So it had been
introduced me-
imposed on you, that nickname.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if Sheriff Lewis calls you Piano Billy, you're Piano Billy.
Now, we've had a lot of vets in touch with us,
Oh,
which can
yeah.
only be a good thing. I love me a vet.
Do you?
Yeah. Do you not?
Yeah, I like a vet.
Okay, good to know. Hello, definitely one vet.
Unless they keep going on about Vietnam and how they weren't. They didn't get proper respect when they came home. Anyway, go on.
I'm still reeling from that. Definitely one vet listening today. Yes, dogs do have shoulders,
Oh.
but they do not have clavicles. That's the collarbone, the jutty out bone. Not everyone. Some have a disappearing clavicle. I have a very prominent clavicle.
You're proud of your clavicle.
I
Do you know,
really
she
am.
just made the other
Yeah.
two ladies on the team show their clavicles to show
We
that
got
she...
our clavicles out.
It's the bone that goes across the top.
collarbone.
Yeah, it's like a straight bone across the
Yeah.
top of the rib cage.
Yeah.
You could use it actually for your dry shirts.
Yeah.
You were at a bus stop for a long time.
Yeah.
Just hook the old coat hanger on your clavicle.
I made the other ladies get their clavicles out.
You did.
You did. I've never been so embarrassed in my life as exposure of clavicles. In this day and age.
The disappearing clavicle sounds like a Piano Billy trick that he does to end the first half.
Yeah, it sounds like something written by Bach, the disappearing clavicle.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yes.
were-
Come on,
We
it's
were
quiet.
discussing.
It will be noisy soon.
We were discussing. Well, speaking of sources of sudden noise, we discussed Jedward last week.
Oh, yes.
The haunting pair of Irish child men.
I don't know how it came about, the discussion of Jedward.
No.
You love a bit of Jedward
But
action,
I think that
don't you?
in much the same way as no one knows how they came about.
Well, you're being very harsh. I said I think whenever I picture them, they're always leapfrogging.
Yeah.
That's what they seem like. They seem like japesters.
And giggling.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're wearing shoes with points that curl.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But you'd be happy, for example, if Buzz brought them home as friends.
I'd be surprised if you
Would
brought
you?
them home as
Why?
friends. Well, they're a bit old for Buzz.
Where did they meet? Yeah.
I think it might be a hair-raising experience.
Oh, right. But they're perennially young, these types,
Yes.
aren't they? These
Anyway,
Jedwards? Sorry.
what's your info?
What's your point?
What's
Jake.
your gen?
Jake's got in touch about Jedward.
Genwood. Okay, Jake.
Jake. Hello, Frank, Emily and Pierre. You asked last week if anyone knew what Jedward were up to these days. We were wondering about where they were now. I was working on Stand Up to Cancer last November and had been tasked with the daunting job of looking after the GC,
Oh, yes.
Gemma Collins.
Can I just say I love the GC?
Yeah.
GC.
I thought you
I
meant
won't
George
have her criticised.
Chakiris, who was in West Side Story. But carry on.
It won't come as a surprise to learn that she was a bit late arriving at the Francis Crick Institute of Biomedical Science.
She's a diva.
Exactly.
She's a diva.
Where we were filming the show. I was just not expecting to hear the phrase Francis Crick Institute of Biomedical Science and Jedward in the same context,
No.
apart from experiments. I was staring at the entrance awaiting her arrival, becoming more and more concerned about the fast-approaching live show. Eventually, I saw her big blonde mane coming through the door, but hers were not the only iconic blonde locks making their way through those doors. I announced to my colleagues, Gemma has arrived, and she's got Jedward with her.
Oh, so they weren't on the bill. They would just come with
They were just
the
with
GC.
her.
They just
They
showed
were
up.
just with GC.
Do you remember the woman from No Doubt used to have two
Stefani?
Japanese women who followed her
She
everywhere?
had. I think you'll find they were called the Harajuku girls.
Were they? They never really spoke. They just hung around with her as,
Bodyguards.
I don't know
That's
what
like
they
me
were.
and Pierre.
Yeah?
Do you wish we wouldn't speak?
And we dressed the same.
Imagine
Yeah.
if Pierre, imagine if Frank made us dress the same and
Yeah.
never speak.
Yeah.
So is there
Intimidating.
more to
Yes.
this? Oh, there's more.
Yes.
There's more.
The boys were not due to appear on the show, so their appearance was unexpected. They walked in ahead of her, one holding her handbag and the other holding her shoes. She came in after them saying, yeah, I've got the boys with me, like a mum arriving at a party after the babysitter had cancelled.
Do you think they brought her over in a sedan chair? Jet? That'd be a thing to see in the street, wouldn't
Yeah. Like a Samuel Pepys era sort of thing.
it? Yeah.
The boys were very well behaved and waited patiently for Gemma to be done. I'm not sure where they went afterwards. I've since seen Instagram posts of the three of them in a hot tub singing Last Christmas.
Really?
Oh, I love that friendship for them.
Yeah, that destroyed. What a way to lose your Whamageddon. Is to see that. I don't think it counts, does it, if it's a version?
I don't know, but
sure.
I'm just unpacking the phrase, what a way to lose your Whamageddon.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, I have something to add to that, but
Do you?
once again, Time, Tide and West Midlands Passenger Transport Executive waits for no man.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So I was on Hampstead Heath this week, walking the dog, and I bumped into Ricky Gervais, and we were standing chatting, and a runner went past and went, hi, and Ricky said, oh, hello. And I said, who's that? And he said, I'm not sure which one, but it's one of Jedward. He said, I see him on here quite often. They live locally.
Oh, they done well for themselves.
And I thought, God, I hadn't spoke about, that the Baader-Meinhof syndrome. You mentioned something, and then within a few days
They
it
pop
crops up. But there was actually one of Jedward.
I didn't think they could do things separately.
No, I wasn't aware of that. They're not joined, if that's what you're thinking.
No, but I would have thought it would be like a sort of psychic thing. Like if you separate them too far,
Especially one running. Does that mean the other one's letting himself go to seed?
That would ruin it for both of them.
Yeah, if one
they shut
gets
up, one is-
enormous, they come on, unless they do a lot of 10th birthday celebrations. Come on in silver suits as number balloons.
That's the number 10.
Like the New Year's
18.
Eve glasses.
Yeah, 18 in a tight belt.
18 with a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Also, regarding the knowledge we've been given this morning by vets about dogs not having a collarbone, Anna Banana points out,
Well, they'll eat a collarbone.
well, they said no collarbone, 2 words in the dog semantic field, collar and bone.
Yeah, oh, true. That is ironic. They don't have a collarbone.
I do, as I've told everyone
Yes.
this morning.
The clavicles were out.
That's all I've got left here, the
Well,
collarbone.
me and Oak, because I've done 3 gigs this week where Pierre, with no support act, for various reasons I won't go into. But
They didn't
was-
like the sound of Piano Billy.
No, they hadn't got a piano.
That's what the venue said.
So,
we can't have a ruckus in here.
We were driving back from Winchester, me and Pierre, and it was about midnight.
Oh, do you know? If I
Not Pierre,
imagine...
no, Omar, sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say that's a shame because Winchester is so Pierre.
It is. We're at the home of King Alfred.
It's true.
But anyway, we were driving back, and it was one of those where you drive in, you're sailing, it's a nice, easy journey. And when you come home late at night, every road in England is closed. And you follow diversion signs that suddenly disappear, and you're in a country lane, you don't know where you are, don't know how to get back. And there was all these cars going around like midnight trying to find out what the hell had happened to their lives after the diversion signs. And a guy come and slowed down at the side of us, wind his window down. And Omar said, all right. And the guy said, do you speak Russian? I thought that's a shot in the dark,
Gosh.
isn't it? Midnight, just outside Winchester. No, we don't speak Russian.
What?
And then he said, oh, all right. I can't find the diversion signs. I've been looking everywhere and they've just disappeared. And I thought, what is it?
Hang on.
What's
yeah.
happened? What's happened here?
I think you owe us an explanation.
Exactly.
That's what you want to say.
You've got some sort of Cockney Muscovite.
But also clearly
Well, that's how the spies get you.
And I could speak English.
fluent in English.
Well, fluent-ish. She was, was a bit slowish, but the chances of saying, "Oh, yeah, I speak Russian." Yeah,
If I was a Russian lost in the countryside and the one car I pulled up alongside was also full of Russians, I'll be honest with you, I'd panic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, we'll never know who that man was unless he's listening to this. He's probably
If he's still
selling
with us.
fruit off a stall in St. Petersburg.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Regarding, we chatted briefly about slang.
Oh, yeah.
And I can vouch for this one from Andy Wood in Bronte Country. The word swat was what we used at school, he says, to define a pupil who seemingly knew everything and was first to put their hand up.
Yeah.
Nowadays it has evolved. I'm not sure if it has literally evolved, but nowadays you'd call it someone a sweat, as in perspiration, which is employed by my children and their confederates at their schools. I didn't know kids were using it in school, but you use it when someone is online, if someone is too good at a game.
Oh.
You can call them a sweat.
Okay.
Is the word SWAT still used?
I don't like the idea of being too good at a game.
No.
I was actually, you may not remember this, Pierre, but I was telling you about a man I worked with who used to clean the lathes with trichoethylene. That was part of his job. Then he took to keeping trichoethylene on a rag in his pocket and just inhaling it occasionally. So I looked up the effects of it on Wikipedia before Pierre could, just to fact check me. And it described trichoethylene on there as a euphoriant. Which I'm now using on the occupation box on my visa applications.
Do you know, you are a lovely little euphoriant.
Yes. Now, Johnny Dodkin, who's our former tour manager who we worked with recently, me and Pierre. He says sketchy. Is that a regular word? He said, "Oh, he looks like a sketchy character over there.
He's
There's a bloke
sketchy.
walking about late at night."
Do you not use I like
I've never heard of sketchy
Yeah,
before.
sketchy.
And then I looked at I have to say, quite an exciting picture of the Doctor, Shooty Gatwa, in his gymnasium in just a pair of shorts on. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You loved that, didn't you?
And Millie Gibson, his co-star, described it as I think one of them anyway, used the phrase thirst trap,
Yes.
which is something I, again, have never heard of
Yeah.
before. Which means what, Pierre?
A beguiling photo deliberately uploaded to social media to sort of tease your crush.
We've all done it,
or
dear.
your
okay.
admirers
Oh,
Yeah.
I
to
see.
lure them in.
And you know the
Yeah.
concept of being thirsty, obviously, not literally,
I certainly did in the 80s.
but thirsty for likes, Frank.
Thirsty for likes? No, I don't know that thing.
Oh, so
It's
that's
a different
bit
world.
thirsty
Next
for
week,
likes.
by the way, we go back to the language as we know it. I'm still upset that my attempt at Coulston working as for cool.
It never
Oh
took
man,
off.
that's Coulston. That never happened. I really thought that would just become a thing,
Did you?
and I'd be in some etymological dictionary as the man who began Coulston. Yeah.
Frank, I would just like to mention this morning, Martin Cheek. Are you familiar with Martin Cheek?
Well, Martin Cheek, who sends us some artwork now and again of his own, has sent me a lovely birthday present, and it's Growl Tiger's Last Stand and other poems by T.S. Eliot with pictures by Errol LeCain, and the illustrations, I have to say, are fabuloso.
Yes,
That's
and
the word I'm
Martin
gonna use.
Cheek is one of our regulars who I refer to as the rude mechanical.
Yes,
'Cause
because he does sound like someone.
He does sound
He sounds like
he
a rude
appeared
mechanical.
alongside Bottom.
Yeah,
doesn't
from
he?
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes.
Martin Cheek next to Bottom.
Martin Cheek has also said, which I like this, he's added to the Do You Know Vanessa May?
Yes.
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
He says, do you know Danielle Steele's?
But
Do
isn't
you know
it?
Danielle Steele's books? He said.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Very, very, very clever.
Okay, I thought you'd be happy with that.
Anyway, look, Sarah Champion is up next. Do listen to her on my poetry podcast, episode 5 of series 9. Can you believe? Which you can download from wherever you get your podcast. This week, on Wednesday, when it lands, I'm doing A.E. Houseman. It's been a while, the Houseman alarm. Are you aware of this, Pierre, before your time? Whenever A.E. Houseman's mentioned, well, not just the first time on every show, a siren goes off. It's an absolute ruling.
Yeah. There we go.
So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening to this morning. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.